Tang Mujin was one of those boys who wanted to become a martial master, a hero who roamed the Jianghu upholding justice and loyalty, but reality was far different for him, because at 20 years old he lived a quiet and ordinary life as a physician, spending his days copying medical texts, preparing herbs, and watching his father treat patients with acupuncture so gentle it felt like a butterfly touching the skin. And while Mujin admired him deeply and wished to reach his level one day, he himself was weak and far from heroic, even getting beaten up in the streets over a simple mistake, making it painfully clear that the world of martial arts was out of his reach. But everything changed when his friend Zhang Gua gave him a mysterious mushroom that could create vivid dreams, and without hesitation Mujin ate the whole thing, hoping to finally experience the life he always dreamed of. Yet instead of becoming a martial master, he found himself living as a blacksmith, and not just any blacksmith but a legendary one, feeling every strike of the hammer and every spark as if it were real, spending years mastering the craft, and eventually forging 5 divine swords worthy of heaven itself, only to suddenly wake up back in his own body, thinking it was all just a dream until he noticed something was wrong, because when he looked at his father's acupuncture needles, they felt flawed, cheap, and unbearably imperfect, triggering a strange sensation in his mind, as if every poorly made object was crying out to him. And in that moment, Mujin realized that the instincts and senses of a master blacksmith had somehow followed him back, changing the way he saw everything around him. And without even realizing it, Tang Mujin had taken his first step onto a path that would completely transform his fate. Tang Mujin, still shaken by the strange power he had gained, decided to test it for himself. And as he stepped into a blacksmith's shop, the moment he picked up a finely crafted sword, all the noise in his mind vanished as if the world had suddenly gone silent. And in that instant, he realized that he could now distinguish true craftsmanship at a glance, leading him to question whether that dream of becoming a legendary blacksmith had truly changed him. So to confirm the truth, he sought out blacksmith Seok, only to meet his son instead, a man proud of his own skills yet burdened by the shadow of his father's legacy. And when challenged to identify the elder's work among dozens of items, Mujin effortlessly picked out every single one, shocking the young blacksmith and proving that his eyes now saw what others could not. And recognizing this rare ability, the blacksmith made an unexpected suggestion, telling Mujin that instead of merely judging, he should try forging something himself. And though hesitant at first, Mujin accepted, thinking he might never get such a chance again. But the moment he lifted the hammer, something incredible happened. His movements flowed naturally, each strike precise and rhythmic, as if his body remembered years of experience he had never lived, leaving even the blacksmith stunned as the sound of Mujin's hammer rang clear like a perfect note, far beyond mere talent. And what began as simple practice soon turned into mastery, as Mujin crafted a needle so refined that it surpassed ordinary tools. And when that needle was used in treatment, the results were astonishing. Patients felt little to no pain, and recovery seemed almost miraculous, causing word to spread rapidly until the once quiet Tang family clinic was flooded with people, forming long lines of patients eager to be treated, transforming Mujin's life overnight. But just as things began to settle, a sudden disturbance broke out in the crowd as a man forced his way forward, ignoring everyone around him, and before anyone could react, with a single precise strike, he cut the man just enough to leave a message carved into his skin without causing serious harm, instantly revealing a level of control that only a true martial master could possess. And as the atmosphere turned tense, Mujin realized that this was no ordinary person, because the name he had just witnessed was one known in whispers. Tang Mujin stood frozen as memories of his childhood resurfaced, remembering how his father had always been like a strong, unshakable tree, never the most famous physician in the land but one who stood firm with quiet resilience, teaching him that true healing was not about fame but consistency and care. Yet the man now standing before him, the so-called eccentric physician Lai Chung, was the complete opposite. Wandering martial master at the pinnacle realm, one of the 3 greatest physicians under heaven, a man who decided life and death with both sword and needle, feared across the Jianghu for his unpredictable nature, and the countless physicians he had slain without regard for good or evil. And for a moment Mujin's heart tightened with fear as he thought his father might be in danger, only to soon realize that the rumors did not fully define the man, as even respected masters owed their lives to him, and those who truly understood him did not see him as purely evil. And when Mujin finally faced him, Lai Chung showed no hostility, instead casually asking to be guided to the blacksmith, as if nothing in the world could trouble him. And upon seeing Mujin's work, he was intrigued, amused even, before tossing him a gold ingot and demanding 30 acupuncture needles by sunset, a task that would normally take months. Yet Mujin, driven by the strange mastery within him, accepted without hesitation and began forging right then and there, his movements once again flowing with unnatural precision as Lai Chung silently observed, realizing that this was no ordinary talent. and by the time Mujin completed the needles, the eccentric physician had already made up his mind, offering him a place as his disciple, not out of kindness but convenience, wanting a skilled blacksmith by his side, yet in return promising to teach him both martial arts and medicine, and to prove his worth, he demonstrated a terrifying level of control, combining swordsmanship and acupuncture in a way that blurred the line between healing and destruction, making it clear that his teachings were far beyond anything Mujin had ever imagined. And though Mujin hesitated, questioning what he could truly gain, Lai Chung tested his knowledge, confirming that Mujin possessed both intelligence and foundation, declaring that martial arts was not just about strength but understanding, something only a few could grasp, and for the first time, Mujin saw a path where his dreams of becoming something greater might actually come true, a chance to rise beyond his quiet life, to step into a world he had only ever dreamed of. Yet when he returned home and told his father about the offer, he expected resistance, expected to be held back, but instead his father, with trembling hands and tearful eyes, gave him silver and told him to go, revealing a side of himself Mujin had never seen before, because beneath that sturdy, unwavering exterior was once a boy who had his own dreams. And in that moment, Mujin understood that this was not just an opportunity, it was a turning point, a choice that would decide the course of his entire life. Tang Mujin stepped into a new chapter of his life, and by the second day of training under the eccentric physician Lai Chung, he achieved something most could only dream of. He successfully circulated Kai through his body, a faint yet undeniable energy flowing within him, growing stronger with each passing day as he meditated and trained, making him feel as though he had finally taken his first real step into the world he once only imagined. But just as confidence began to bloom, Lai Chung shattered it without mercy, handing him a real sword and challenging him to a spar, promising to carry him on his back if Mujin could so much as touch the edge of his clothes. Yet despite Mujin's determination and clever attempt at a surprise attack, the gap between them was absolute, as Lai Chung effortlessly repelled him with overwhelming force, sending him flying with a mere surge of Kai, making Mujin realize that raw power alone could decide the outcome of a battle. But Lai Chung quickly corrected that thought, explaining that martial arts was far more than just having greater Kai, that even with weaker energy one could still rise to mastery through understanding, technique, and adaptability, forcing Mujin to confront his own impatience and begin training with a clearer mind. And as their journey continued, the two arrived at a quiet mountain village suffering from a mysterious illness, where a kind physician had been using his own wealth to treat the sick, earning the trust and gratitude of the villagers. Yet even with all their efforts, the disease remained unknown, something even Lai Chung admitted he could not immediately identify, reminding Mujin that no matter how great one becomes, there will always be more to learn, and that true mastery lies in acknowledging one's ignorance. But as night fell and the cries of the suffering echoed through the village, Mujin's frustration grew, because without knowing the cause, even the greatest skills were useless, and it was then that Lai Chung revealed a piece of his past, not with sorrow but with a strange calm, telling Mujin how he had once lost his wife and daughter to an illness no physician around him could cure, despite his wealth and desperate attempts to save them, only to later discover that the cure had always existed, known by a simple village doctor who could have saved them with something as trivial as a few coins, a cruel twist of fate that changed his entire life. And instead of drowning in grief, he chose to chase knowledge, to wander the world and gather every piece of medical wisdom he could find so that such a tragedy would never happen again.